Okay, I think.
Great Tuesday evening, terrific Tuesday evening, Taco Tuesday, whatever you celebrate on a Tuesday. Welcome to our weekly edition of Wolfpack Tuffy Talk Live broadcast, if you will. Myself and Mr. Carson will be your host tonight. Carson, good, terrific Tuesday, sir. How are you?
Yeah, we got to see a Pac men's basketball dominating win on Saturday, and we got to see the women win as well on Sunday. So overall, good weekend.
Good week, yeah. Out of 4 games, we went 3-1 last week in basketball. We did have a loss there with the women against Clemson, and we'll get into that here. For anyone that is watching our live stream and wondering why the hell is Greg wearing a headband, I am embracing men's basketball right now because ever since the guys started rocking these headbands last week, we are 2-0, and I am going to rock the headband this week in solidarity with the men. Carson, how ridiculous does it look that I'm wearing a headband tonight?
I don't think too ridiculous. I mean, it's red, so
It's red, yeah. Official Adidas brand. So it's on messaging, and yeah, it's it's something fun to do. Yeah, the men were just phenomenal last week, as you kind of mentioned, going 2-0. Um, Is it just me, or did Darion Williams learn how to play basketball last week? That is the
yeah.
most ridiculous
I,
statement, right? Right? Right?
I
Right.
think he had if you combine like points, rebounds, assists, and all that, I think he had the most for both of those games.
Mhm. Yeah. And I jest, right? Like Darion Williams didn't forget how to play basketball. Like he's finding his rhythm. We know he was injured. And you knew it was just a matter of time before he started pouring it back on. And I'm just pulling up the box score from last week because I believe you were correct. 22 points against Boston College and 20 against Florida State. And you started to see some things, right? You started to see him be a little bit more aggressive, whether that was by design, whether they kind of just started running the offense through Darion. And then you even heard Coach Wade saying he's kind of the backup to Q at point guard, and maybe that's just another way to get him more involved in the offense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree because Darian is a very versatile player. You know, he can get physical on the inside, but at the same time, he is a really good outside shooter. And so he is sort of that wild card where you can sort of put him anywhere on the court.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely can play 1 through 4, pretty comfortably. and it's just good to kind of see him get back into the flow, back into the rhythm. We knew that the talent was there, like he wasn't going to be kept down for a while. And so I'm hoping now Wolfpack Nation can kind of just take a breath and let him just kind of do his thing. And he never lost that confidence in his game. But as a bigger whole, so State went up to Chestnut Hill last I think it was Tuesday.
Yeah, it was a late game.
It was a late game, yeah. So they beat Boston College in front of about 600 fans. I don't know if you watched the game, but you could definitely hear the Wolfpack chant towards the end of the game. So it was good to see Wolfpack Nation kind of show up and do their thing. But so yeah, kind of back to Darion. He went 4 for 7 in that game from 3-point shooting, and I think that's kind of an underrated part of his game that, if he can kind of get into a rhythm as this team as a whole from 3-point, and we'll definitely talk about it when we get to the Florida State portion of the broadcast. But again, State's kind of just leading the ACC in 3-point made and 3-point percentage. Again, they shot 59% from 3 on Tuesday, going 13 of 22, and then they shot it right at 52% again. I think they were 19 of 35. I'll have to check that number when we get over to that game. But just a really great job of shooting the ball and, the guys really making some big shots.
Yeah. Yeah, Boston College, I don't know. Boston College got a little scary in like 3 quarters through the game, but we were able to pull it out in the end.
Yeah, they just kind of hung around, right?
Yeah.
So,
and that's what's to be expected when you play on the road. But I felt like in the third quarter-ish, I know college basketball doesn't have quarters, but like third quarter area,
about 10-minute mark,
yeah, I felt like we were a little too comfortable.
Yeah, to your point, let me pull up the play-by-play here because I think in the second half, we were up at one point. We had gotten it to about it was around 6 to 8 points for most of the second half, and then about the 14-minute mark, we stretched it to 9, and then just kind of hovered. The closest that it did get was 4 points, or around the 11-minute mark. And then it just kind of hung around 4 points, 5 points for a little bit. And then finally State just kind of took over in the last 5 minutes of the game. But yeah, it was a Boston College team that had some link to them and it gave us a little bit of trouble, kind of like what we experienced against Virginia. But our shooting was just really good throughout the game. They just pull up some team stats here. Struggled a little bit from the free throw line. That didn't help us. We left 6 points there. Got out rebounded in that game, which was conversely, we did not get out rebounded against Florida State, and we'll talk about that. Did a really good job of 11 steals, but the problem is we only got 4 points off those turnovers. So they were able to minimize the damage if they did turn it over as Boston College. And then, our largest lead in the game was 13, and then we led 93% of the game. But they shot right at 50% from 3, but we shot 59%, and that was kind of the difference of the game. We made 4 extra 3-pointers. And again, that was, kind of made up the difference for the foul shots because they were 16. They got 6. They got 10 extra points at the free throw line, and we got 12 extra points from 3-pointers. So kind of the tail of the game there. But overall, I thought the team played pretty good defense. Again, with those 11 steals, we only had 4 total turnovers and they had 16. Kind of the key of the week last week was the defense. Like the defense did a really good job against Florida State.
Yeah. And I feel like the offense very much fed off of the defense very quickly. 113 points, 6 players in double figures comfortably as well. I mean, McNeil had 21, Williams had 20, Lubin had 19.
We're talking about Florida State or
Florida
Boston
State.
College? Okay, yeah, we can shift over there. Go ahead.
Yeah. Abel with 15. I mean, Abel stepped up. Arsenault with 13. Good to see him find his groove as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's an important thing to talk about with Trey Holloman out with his injury the last couple of games. You've definitely seen a uptick in production from both Abel and Arsenault. So in the Boston College game, Abel gave you 11 points and Arsenault gave you 12. So there's 23 points right off the bench. Something that we've seen too is the bench has really stepped up again. Like I said, with the game against Florida State. Now, the Florida State bench did technically outscore us, but that's because the Florida State coach ended up pretty much benching his guys for not playing really great, and then one of their guys got into really, really bad foul trouble, one of their starters, so they kind of had to go to the bench. But as a whole, you had 32 minutes from Matt Abel in Boston College, and you had 21 minutes from Arsenault. So eating up those minutes that that Trey would have gotten, and so just some really good all around scoring. Like, and this is the last thing I'll probably say about Boston College before we go over to Florida State. You had two of your guys on the bench outscore four of your starters, and so you saw a really good distribution of the points for that game, and so you had guys stepping up when you needed them, which was nice to see. But yeah, we can shift over to Florida State. What a dominating performance from beginning to end. I don't think State ever trailed in this game because I think it got up to like 11-0, and I don't think Florida State ever was able to tie it from that point. But you were talking about Paul McNeil with 21 points, 7 of 13 from the field, and I think he was 5 of 7 from 3-point. Let me just pull that up. I think that's what it was. 5 of 10 from 3. So he shot exactly 50%. And if Paul McNeil is shooting 50% and putting up that kind of volume on shot, we're gonna have a good day.
Yeah. Yeah. Any day where Paul McNeil is able to shoot the ball well.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely he's not the catalyst of this team, but when you're getting, 21 points from Paul McNeil, you're probably going to have a very high chance of winning those games. And when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys score double digits, I definitely like our chances to win a game.
Yeah. Yeah. The way this team is put together, if we have 6 guys in double figures, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you had State do a really nice job holding Florida State to their lowest output from 3. This was a team that coming in that was kind of known for their 3-point shooting. You held them a 5 of 23 for 22%. Did a really nice job for let me see, who was it felled out? McCray felled out. Robert McCray did a really good job. He's one of their leading scorers, and that you held him. He was averaging 13.7 points a game, and you held him to 10 points in under 21 minutes. He fouls out. And I think that was one of the things that State did really well in that game.
Yeah. I think when you look at Florida State, I mean, they played tough against Duke.
Yeah, and Carolina.
And we went into Tallahassee and just absolutely dominated.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I mean, just looking at some of the stats, like, again, State played really good defensively, and this was another game where Arsenault gave you 13 points. Like, if he's giving you 13 points against Florida State, yeah, he's really clean defensively. So 13 points against Florida State, and what did I say? 12 points against Boston College. If you're getting that kind of production from an Arsenault, and then again you add Matt Abel to that, I think Abel had 20 points against Boston or against Florida State. Let me just pull that up again. Matt Abel, where's he at? Bench. 15 points. 5 of 7 on 3-point shooting. Like, again, if you're getting 5 of 7 from 3-point from Matt Abel, you're going to be in really good shape. Yeah, it again, another team effort. I mean, we scored 56 in the first half and 57 in the second half. That's pretty balanced scoring. That's what you want on a road game.
And that shows that they don't take the brakes off.
Yeah. Yeah, they were still going pedal to the metal right up to the end. Even, you had, some of we were able to clear the bench, though I was kind of surprised that we didn't clear the bench a little earlier. The game was pretty much in control. It's funny, as a State fans, it feels like we've been on the opposite end of a guy just going off on us, right? And I felt like Matt Abel, and to a degree, Terrence Arsenault was that guy that we've had on the other end of the spectrum, if that makes sense. Where a guy that you don't necessarily game plan for, or kind of look at him on the what's that called, the sheet where they're the scouting report.
Scout.
Yeah. And so the guy that you're like, okay, I'm okay if Matt Abel puts up 7 3-pointers today. He's not going to make 5, and then he goes out and makes 5 against you. So it was kind of nice that the basketball gods kind of were shining on us, and instead of us always being on the lower end of that. So that was nice to see.
Yeah. And then coming up this week, we have a little bit of rest time before Saturday, where we got Georgia Tech coming to Raleigh.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech's sort of in that rebuild. It's Georgia Tech basketball.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Sure. Yeah, what was it? New Year's Eve, they played Duke very close. Like, I think that they,
that was in Durham as well.
That was in Cameron, yep. And I think that I watched that game, and Stoudemire, their coach, even talked about it after the game. Was like, the free throw discrepancy was just outrageous. I think they shot like 30 more free throws than Georgia Tech did. And I think Georgia Tech only lost by like 7 or 8. Again, I'm just trying to go by memory. I can probably look it up, but that's too easy. So yeah, it's a team that is kind of in transition. Let me just kind of pull up some of their stuff here. They're 10-7 overall, 1-3 in the ACC play.
Their only ACC win is against Boston College in Atlanta.
Okay. All right. How close was it?
65-53, and then they lost to Syracuse and Miami.
Yeah, and Miami, I think Miami is ranked now. But I'm still not sold on Miami. Again, looking at who they've beaten, they've really not beaten anyone of like significance. They definitely took an easier route with a first-year coach. And then Syracuse is pretty bad overall. I mean, they're 11-5, but they are 2-1 in the conference. But again, I don't think they've really beaten anybody either. And they're led by Reeves. He's averaging 16 points a game. They're averaging 76 points a game, giving up 72. So looking at all the metrics right now, State is favored in all of the different team stats. So you would think that State should be able to win this game again on a 2-game ACC winning streak, which is nice. We need to keep stacking these wins, especially against opponents that are equal or lesser than we are, because the schedule, like we've talked about before, does get tougher when you get into later February or mid to late February. Another noon game, like, I guess it's fine. We can go out and do other things after a basketball game, but it just feels that
at least it's not 11 a.m. again.
It's not 11 a.m., which is I guess the positive about this. The game will be on the CW network, which historically we're pretty good on the CW. Indications are pointing towards a Trey Holloman return. What are your thoughts on Trey Holloman returning, that you've seen now 2 really good games back to back with Abel and Arsenault? Like, does Will Wade just punch back Trey right back into everything, assuming he's fully healthy? Do you cut some of his minutes back and give him in reward Arsenault and Abel for playing as well? Like, how would you approach this?
Yeah, I would probably, let him ease on it, let Trey ease on in a little bit, because you've seen Arsenault and Abel gain a lot of positive production, and Holloman definitely has that basketball IQ that you want on the floor, but if he's not fully healthy yet, you know, our other guys are playing really well. Let him rest, let him heal, and get fully healthy. Hmm. All right. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. All right. All right, Greg, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my mic just kind of junked out on me, so I apologize for everyone out there. The beauty of doing a live podcast. But yeah, kind of wanted to just jump in the chat here. Bollister Wolf, just what up, fellows? If anyone's out there that kind of has some questions or wants to know anything, we can definitely throw that out there. But yeah, I think we're pretty good there for men's basketball. That's a pretty good wrap up. Just kind of just real quick looking at the next week or so. Got some games coming up. Again, Georgia Tech at home should take care of business there. Next week, got a big road game down to Clemson. Now that Clemson's in the top 25, so that's a big win on the that's out there to be grabbed. A quad one win, which, by the way, we can talk a little bit about metrics here for a second. State doesn't have a quad one win to their credit yet this year.
No.
So that's a little bit of a concern. But even with that being said, still in really good shape. I got the Ken Palm here. According to Ken Palm, we're sitting at 24. Do you by chance have the net rankings? If not, I can pull that up real quick.
No, hang on.
All right, give me a second. I got net rankings here. Currently State is sitting, I think they were at 28 last time I saw. Okay, they're 31 now. So, right, again, good shape. ACC as a whole is in pretty good shape.
Yeah, much better than it was last year.
Yeah.
Last year was pretty much Duke and Louisville and pretty much everyone else.
Yeah, Clemson a little bit. They were okay.
Yeah,
they were all right.
Yeah. But I mean,
Carolina was just kind of hanging on for dear life, and so they made the tournament off of that. And look, I kind of talked about it a few weeks ago, and I feel like State is kind of taking the page from Carolina as much as we want to kind of work that through. It's like Coach Wade has done a pretty good job setting up a schedule to where you could be successful. Look, you can give him some credit, but all of it's not on him. Like, we already had Maui on the schedule before we hired him,
Kansas.
And we already had Kansas, and then we got the ACC SEC game handed to us based on that. But outside of that, even knowing
stuff like VCU, like
UAB,
the stuff that you don't think about every day.
Yeah.
But I mean, UAB was a 12 seed a few years ago. VCU is always in that conversation.
Yeah. So he scheduled games that were very winnable, but also looked respectable on a resume. And
much better than beating someone like Detroit Mercy or East Tennessee.
Right. USC Upstate. So I like what we've done, and we've set ourselves up in a position where you have a good ACC resume slate teams. So I think I looked at the net the other day. I want to say there were 8 teams in the top like 65, 70, which is really good.
Who's that? Duke,
Yeah, so if
Carolina
you go to
State,
70, yeah,
Virginia.
yeah, if you go to 74, so like again, I'm kind of playing with numbers here, but 74, you had Notre Dame, Stanford 72, Syracuse 67, Wake 63, Virginia Tech 59, and then you kind of got up to the next one is Miami at 33, State at 31, Clemson, SMU, Carolina, Virginia,
I
or
keep
Louisville,
forgetting.
Virginia. So again, I'm yelling at a lot of teams here, but you have a lot of teams in the 75 range, and that's a quad 2, quad 3, depending on where you play them. So again, not a ton of again, based on the net, depending on their ranking and where you play them, home or away, that changes the dynamics of it. But again, where I'm going with this in a very long-winded way is there's a lot of quality games out there to be had for state. So that's a good thing, right? Like, but again, these higher profile matchups, we need to start banking some of these wins. And Georgia Tech is not one of the top 75 teams out there, but then you have Clemson next week, and then Pitt's not very good either. I don't think they're even in the top 100, to be honest with
They
you.
have a losing record
Yeah,
overall.
yeah. And again, that's a road win. So I do like some of these road games that State are playing are against the lesser opponents, which crowd noise, blah this, blah that. Like it does definitely set up better. We have a couple, our toughest games. And we still have one more at UVA. We have Carolina and Duke at home. Let me just go. I think SMU is on the road. Yeah, but they just fell out of the top 25, but they're fringe top 25. We have Virginia Tech that comes to state. So we have Louisville. That's really Louisville and Clemson and Virginia are our toughest 3 road games that are left on the schedule.
I think Virginia is the best team in the ACC right now. Either them or Duke. They are up. They're playing Louisville right now. They're up 15
Virginia
in Louisville.
Okay, Virginia's playing Louisville right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think it's Duke. Just because they haven't lost a game in the conference. I don't think Virginia has lost a conference game either.
No, they lost.
No, that
they
was
lost
Virginia
that,
Tech.
They lost that triple overtime game to VT.
Yeah. I still think it's. I think
it's Virginia or Duke, one of those two.
Yeah.
Louisville looks really good early, and then they sort of fell off a little bit.
Yeah, something I noticed with regards to the ACC scheduling, like you don't play every team, which is weird.
Yeah.
But you play some teams twice, which again, why don't you just play every team at least once?
I don't think we play Cal.
Correct.
We play Virginia twice.
Right. But Miami doesn't play Duke at all.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's because of that very reason that you just said, right, Cal? Like maybe to cut on some of the travel. But yeah, we play Wake Forest and UVA twice. So
yeah,
in Miami,
I understand playing Wake twice, but not so UVA.
Right. Like why is that second one not against Duke or Carolina? Right.
Yeah.
Why Virginia? And is that going to rotate? Which is what I'm curious about. But
I think it's going to rotate because
I would hope
we're not playing Cal this year. So like, are we just never going to play them?
Well, no, we would. What I'm saying is like the double opponent.
Oh yeah. I gotcha.
Yeah.
I think that would.
But yeah, you have Miami. Like they play Florida State twice and Boston College twice. Like, good gosh, is that easy or what? So even if they're just an okay team, that's 4 games right there. Or 4 games that you probably go 3-1 against. So what I'm saying is I'm hoping we get that luxury one year of playing the bottom dwellers twice in one season. But I don't think Florida State is the bottom dweller. Let me see. They're pretty bad, but
Pitt is
actually they are. They're 0-3. Yeah. So right now Miami plays twice, Boston College, which is 0-3, and Florida State, which is 0-3. And when you're looking at like the breakdown of the seating for the ACC tournament, it's like, bro, you get 4 hand me's, 4 give me's essentially. If you're a decent team, which Miami right now is 3-0 in the conference.
Yeah.
And I get it. I guess things will sort itself out organically, but that's pretty frustrating. But yeah, so right now, like we'll just end on this. Right now, State is 3-1 in the conference. They're a game back. They're behind Duke and Clemson, which are both 4-0. And like I said, next week we will play Clemson. So you can get right up in that mix really quickly. And
We'll wait school.
What's that?
We'll wait school.
Will Wade School, that's right. Yep. And then we have Hamilton on staff who played at Clemson as well. And I believe he might have coached there as well. But 1-3, Georgia Tech in the conference comes to Raleigh on Saturday. And we will see how that goes. And like you said, Louisville, with them being down against UVA, right now they're only 2-2 in the conference. And they're ranked number 20 in the country. So
they were like number 6 at one point. Something like that.
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Yeah. They're a little bit of a slide. They have lost to who they lost to recently. They lost to Duke the other day, and they lost to Stanford, which that's kind of a bad loss. But they had to go out to Stanford, which making that trip is a little bit more difficult. Especially, did they do the full West Coast swing? Yeah, they did the full West Coast swing. All right, well, let's move over to women's basketball. I think we've hammered men's basketball enough, but a lot to be excited about now that we're shifting to women's basketball. I'm going to take this headband off because it is cutting circulation off to my brain, and there isn't a lot there to begin with. All right, much better. All right, women's basketball. We already mentioned that they went 1-1 last week. Went down to Clemson and took a loss, but that was with no Zam Jones.
Yeah, so you can put an asterisk next to that.
I would agree with that statement. They were up most of that game. Well, it was close. It was back and forth.
It was just bad fourth quarter.
Yeah,
bad offense and bad defense, just bad everything in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Clemson kind of pulled away once Camille Pierre went down with like a calf injury, probably like a cramp was most likely. And they kind of took advantage of that. We were already kind of shorthanded up until that point with no Zam and then of course no Camille. And just, that's how invaluable Camille is to this team. She just does everything. Scores really well, rebounds really well, plays defense really well. And so Clemson ended up pulling away and won by 10, 75-65. Just got outscored 23-8 in the fourth quarter. Just, you can't have that. We were actually leading up until that point by like 2 or 3 at the end of the third quarter. Let me just see real quick. Third quarter, end of the third quarter, we were up by 5. And so it just kind of just fell apart in the fourth quarter, like I said. Really, really trouble shooting the ball from the outside. Just didn't kind of have any go-tos when you needed a bucket down towards the end with Zam and Camille. Just kind of struggling to get through the end of the fourth quarter. She did come back in, Camille did, but she definitely wasn't the same. She missed a shot towards the end of the game, but again, just didn't score. Just making sure that my facts are correct. No, she did score 1 bucket, but just really wasn't the same. And Clemson, like, they're okay. Like, they're 12-5. They're 3-2 in the ACC. That loss took us to 3-1 at the time, but then we rebounded nicely, to say the least, against SMU, beating them by 38. Nope, that's not good there. 91-54. What is that?
37.
37. Thank you. Public school math is not my strong suit. But just kind of going over the stats of the Clemson game real quick. Just to point out a couple of
That was
things.
Coach Moore's first ever loss to Clemson.
Yeah, we hadn't lost to them since like 2011.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it's been 15 years. So it's bound to happen. You know, shot 41% for the game. You're just not going to win a lot of games shooting 41%. Even going 9 of 10 at the charity stripe, that's still not going to be enough. I thought we had a lot of we had 10 turnovers in that game where Clemson only had 7, and then got beat in the paint by 2 points. Yeah, it just one of those nights where you just had injuries, and like you said, put an asterisk on that. I think I don't know if we play them again. Let me see.
No, we don't. I think in the women we only play Wake twice.
Okay, well I'll take Wake twice then. That's not bad. Yeah, I don't see another double. Yeah, so we will not get to see them again until the tournament if we see them at all. But yeah, Trigger led the way with 19 points, 11 rebounds, solid performance from her. Zoe had 6 assists. The problem State had was you just didn't get a lot of extra scoring from the big three. After the big three with Trigger, Pierre, and Zoe pretty much accounting for all your points. We had 6, 10, 14 points other than their 3 production. And again, if you put Zam in there, she's going to get you 10 to 12 points easily. And that's really the difference of that game.
Yeah.
Again, only played 8 players, which, you had pretty much everyone having to play a lot of minutes, but that's just what West does. Really good rebounding performance by both Pierre and Trigger. But again, you didn't have a lot of rebounds other than those 2. And then I think, let me look at team stats. I think Clemson shot really well from 3. Not as good as I thought it was. They were 8 of 24. It just felt like they just hit some big threes. The one person we really couldn't contain was Rose for Clemson. Like she just seemed to be, pardon the pun, she seemed to be a thorn all night. Just having a really good game. But no, I think rebounded nicely. SMU was just what the doctor needed after a loss to Clemson, right? To kind of get right. Kind of hard to kind of get a read on that game, but just kind of give me your thoughts, and then we'll break down a few things.
Yeah, scoring was really well.
Yeah, when you score 91, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up the stats right now.
Mm-hmm.
But very balanced scoring. I mean, Samuels
led the way.
Led the team with 16.
Yeah.
So not a big stellar performance, like one big standout.
Right. No, very evenly balanced, right?
Yeah, Samuels with 14. Yep. Zam came in off the bench, I think, in the second quarter, which she had 15.
Yeah, quiet
Pierre,
15.
Yeah. Pierre had 14 and Tilda had 13. So
yeah, no, just very evenly balanced. The biggest, and again, I'm not going to really fuss about it too much, especially when you win by 37 points. The biggest concerning thing for me in that game was Zam Jones's turnovers. She had 5 turnovers in 19 minutes.
Yeah, if you're shooting guard, you shouldn't turn the ball over.
Right. But again, just trying to make plays, a little careless. I mean, she hadn't played in, what was it, a week?
I think it was a week.
It was right at a week. Yeah, it was right at a week because it was a Sunday game that she got injured. Right? Is that right?
Yeah, it was
Cal. Yeah, so she only missed the one game, which, based on the way she went out, like, if people saw it after the Cal game, she had her ankle heavily wrapped. They took her off on a wheelchair, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, like it looks pretty serious. Like if I had to have guessed, I would have said that was going to be a multi-week, 4 or 5 game injury, just by looking at it. And so thankfully it wasn't as bad. And obviously she was solid enough to come and play against SMU where you didn't really need her to play. she could have, skipped that game and been just fine.
Yeah.
But good to see her back out there and doing her thing. Just some more stats here. Let's see what this sticks out. Much better shooting the three. Oh, sorry, that was them. Even us, 36%. Actually, both teams shot 8 of 22, which was nice to see. 12 turnovers, still maybe a couple more, but like I said, 5 of those were on Zam. So the rest of the team only had 7 turnovers amongst them. Just dominating in the paint. Just we just took advantage on them on multiple levels. The offensive rebounds, total rebounds was just a complete domination. And then, of course, points in the paint, which are, kind of a direct correlation of one another. Yeah. Free throw shooting still, 70% is not horrible, but you would love to maybe have that around 75.
You want free throws to be at least over 75.
Yeah.
I think.
Again, it's just that's another thing that the women have kind of struggled on this year. Even the men to a lesser degree.
I feel like they've struggled. The women have struggled with free throws for the past few years.
Yeah. So the women go down to Winston-Salem tomorrow. Yep, Wake Forest down to Winston-Salem on Thursday. 6 p.m. tip, so a little earlier. So, folks, if you're getting home, you probably want to throw that on right when you get to the house. Wake Forest comes in 12-6, but
2-4 in the conference,
and that's exactly right. Yep, 2-4 against the conference. They scheduled pretty easy outside of the conference. Their 2 wins are against Pitt, which is not a very good team, and what's the other one? What am I missing? I don't see the other. Oh, nope. What was their second win? Oh, Georgia Tech, 57-56.
Yeah, Georgia Tech is bad.
And they're bad. Yeah. So looking at the standings based off of what I just said, so wins against Georgia Tech and Pitt. Pitt is 1-4 in the conference with an overall record of 8-10, and Georgia Tech is where are they at? 3-3 in the conference, 8-10 overall as well. So take that for what you want, and they only beat Georgia Tech by 1. But
talk about a big fall off though. Have you seen Florida State's record?
Oh, they're bad.
Women's?
Yeah, they're bad.
5-12.
Yeah,
I mean that is easily the worst Florida State women's basketball team I've ever seen.
Yeah, they've been a solid program for many years. I remember maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they took us to overtime. At Reynolds. I want to say probably 2 years ago. It might have been 3 now. But I know they have a new coach and they're definitely in transition, trying to rebuild that program back. Cal's a little bit like Cal was much better last year as well. They weren't a bad team, but they're 1-4. The one team you hate to see it but love to watch it is Carolina. They've definitely fallen off a little bit here as of late. And then Duke is 6-0 in the conference now, after starting off really sluggish out of conference.
That one West Virginia game where I think West Virginia had like 5 players playing and then beat them.
Yeah, that was probably the low point for sure.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's starting to kind of find their groove.
Who has Duke played though? They beat Notre Dame.
They beat Notre Dame, right? Yeah, but Notre Dame's in the top, which
they've not really. That's the only team they've really played in the conference.
Yeah, and Louisville. I don't think Louisville's really beat anyone. What are we? They played one more game than we have. Yeah, no, we're 5-1. Okay, got it. Yeah,
Louisville beat Carolina in overtime. And
they
beat Tennessee.
Yeah, well, we beat Tennessee, so
they only lost South Carolina by 2.
Yeah, that was a good game. I actually watched some of that. But yeah, so the women have Wake Forest on Thursday, and then the big one. If State's looking at trying to do a couple of things, the game on Sunday is going to be huge, right? So
yeah,
obviously for conference standings, Louisville will be coming into town with a 16-3 overall record, 6-0 in the conference. If State's trying to get into a
Well,
host,
they play Notre Dame. They Louisville goes to South Bend on Thursday.
oh, got you. Yeah, no, I was talking about State and Louisville on Sunday, but yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely will be rooting for Notre Dame in that game on Thursday. But where I was going, if State's trying to get into a hosting conversation, the Louisville game
these
is
are the wins you got to
yeah,
win.
yeah, you that's a must win for seeding purposes. The ACC, and we kind of talked about it like last week or week before, I can't remember which. The ACC isn't as strong as we've had in the past.
No.
Really, the big thing is like Virginia Tech is not the team that they used to be.
No.
That was a really strong team when you had Kenny Brooks as their coach and you had all of their really good players there. And
Carolina's not ranked. Duke's not ranked.
right. Notre Dame's barely hanging on with the 23.
Yeah.
So it's still
Miami's not ranked. Syracuse isn't very good.
Right. Yeah, those are teams that have Syracuse is 14-3, 4-2 in the conference.
Florida State's was usually pretty good as well until this year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but and you've had Stanford really good in years past, and they're okay, but they're not the old Stanford teams that we're accustomed to.
Yeah.
So where I'm going with that is there's not a lot of moves to start making to get for State to get back up into that conversation to be in the top 16 in order to host a regional come March. So it's kind of imperative that we get moving. Now, I will say Virginia has gotten really good in the last couple of years. They've definitely quietly agreed. That was a team that we usually feasted on, and we have struggled with them over the last couple of years. I think we've gotten at least one loss in that time frame. But yeah, there's not a lot happening to where State can make some hay. So Louisville is definitely a must that you need kind of on your resume. Yeah, because looking here, like State versus the AP poll, we're 1-3 in both the USA Today and AP against ranked teams, and you're going to need some of these wins in order to get that hosting, and it's really coveted, especially in the women's game where you can host the first two games, and it makes your path to the Sweet 16 a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So
right now, Clemson's listed as the last team in on women's bracketology.
That's kind of wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
12-6. That's the last in. Whew.
Yeah. Trying to look at where they have us right now.
Probably, I would have guessed a 5 or 6 seed if I had to take a guess.
They have us set it as a 7 right now.
A little lower than I would maybe put us.
Going to Vanderbilt.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like a 7 seed, maybe. Because I think they do a true snake for the women, so that would put us at about 28 in the country. Yeah, I guess I could see that. Yeah. Wasn't doing good math there either in my head.
The men are projected to be in 9 right now, so they're moving up a little bit as well.
Yeah. They had us playing in Tampa last time I saw. I don't know where they had us at now, but Tampa would be fun. Michael would enjoy that.
Do you want to know the last time NC State was in the tournament as a seed higher than an 8?
The last time?
I can't remember the exact year, but I do remember that it was. No, I can't remember the exact year, but it was when we had Julius.
So like 2008, 9. Is that right?
No, earlier. It was like 05 or 04, something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
No, we had Julius like in like the 10s and 12s. No, wait. Yeah. All right, now you got me looking this up. Hold on. Let's see.
He joined NC State in 2001.
What? Oh, wait, who am I thinking of? Oh, goodness. Who am I thinking of? Okay. All right. So this is what happens when you get almost 50 years old. You start forgetting things. Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time to be off that 8-9 seed.
Okay, so bracketology has this is funny. Bracketology has us as the 9 seed playing the 8 seed Iowa.
Yeah.
And the 1 seed is Iowa State. That's funny.
We can knock out the whole state of Iowa at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're different conferences, so that would be funny. Where do they have that matchup at? I'm just curious.
St. Louis.
St. Louis. That's a crap. I mean, I can get an easy flight there. All right. Well, guess what though? There's still plenty of basketball to play. What do they? How many games they play in the conference? 18, 19, 20? What is it?
It's 20 now. It's 18 now. It used to be 20.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. So we're just a third of the way into the. Actually, wait. This is women I'm looking at. Men are what, 4-1? Is that right?
4-1 or 3-1?
5-1.
Oh, 5.
Wait, that's women still. Hold on. Come on, ESPN.
Yeah, because women start ACC play a week
earlier. Yeah. I don't know. Why are you doing that? There you go. So yeah, but we're not even a fifth of we're not even a third of the way through. Yeah, we're 4 games in, so not even a fourth of the way.
Yeah,
not quite. Yes, plenty of basketball still. All right. I know the heading here said NC State football transfer portal run is legit, because that is what Leighton put there. So I guess we do need to talk about the portal. Lot happening in the portal.
Oh yeah.
Kind of where do you want to head in the portal? We got another defector, if you will, today, from Carolina. That's 2 in 2 days, right? No, wait.
Well, did you see what he said?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Give it to me.
It was posted somewhere. I'm gonna pull it up. But he was basically talking about how, like, during the State Carolina game, like the culture on State sideline looked so much better than on the Carolina sideline.
Yeah. Well, so for those that are wondering, that's Ty White. He's a cornerback, former 4-star guy. He's reuniting with Coach Charlton Warren, who was his coach and recruiter at Carolina, which Coach Warren is just an awesome dude. Had the opportunity when I did an NIL event to sit with him for dinner at the team hotel one night, and just talking to him, really stand-up dude, former Air Force guy. Knows how to lead men. He's definitely a coach that I would want to play for personally. And so it's great to see him kind of maintain the relationship, if you will. And that's, a great, a couple of things that could come to mind. And I want to kind of get your thoughts on it. I would love to hear that exact quote if you're able to find it from the Carolina, from when he was at the Carolina State game. That goes back to how much Coach Doran values that game, and it shows in the recent records. And then 2, that that he wants to be a part of something that he sees, right? And yeah, you could say if you can't beat him, join him, but I think it speaks volumes to a guy's character where. That, yes, to me, this sounds more like I have a good relationship with this coach. He recruited me, I played for him, and I want to go back and maintain and continue to foster that relationship.
Yeah, spot on. I was looking for that quote. Can't find any more. I can't remember where I saw it, but I saw it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at the other transfers, I mean, it's not bad programs. These are good programs. Like, we got a lineman from Texas. We got a safety from Penn State.
Yep. A corner from Georgia.
Yeah, a corner from Georgia.
Yeah. And then, I'm trying to pull up
edge rusher from Tulane, and Tulane is probably one of the best G5 programs out there.
Well, I mean, they made the college football playoff, right? I mean, I get it, P5
and then a receiver from Miami.
Yeah. Yeah, so you've got a good mix of quality programs that we've gone out and recruited from, guys that were coveted players coming out of high school. A lot of 4-star guys, um, and and if we're able to take these guys into our program, and we're kind of known for developing, right? Like you talk about the kid from Texas. Was it Clark? Was that his name? It's Cruz. Cruz. You got it in front of you. I was trying to find my. I
Yeah,
had a list.
Daniel Cruz.
Yeah, Cruz. You get a guy like him who's had a little experience. Good time program.
Especially playing in the SEC. I mean, that's very physical.
Right, and you're getting these guys from Texas, from Penn State, from Georgia. Now, Penn State's a little different this year, but you're getting guys that have had winning pedigree, right? So you're getting guys that know how to win. They want to win. And now you come to a school like NC State, which we do very good jobs at getting guys coached up, developed. That you're seeing our transfers out. You're seeing guys like Peak going to South Carolina, Rogers going to Alabama, Smothers going to Texas. Like these aren't guys that are just dropping down a level or two. Like we've done a nice job getting guys developed. Now, does it suck that we're not able to retain all these guys? Sure, but again, when you only have so much money to go around, you have to do that in a smart, methodical way. But I do really like what this team is starting to put together from the transfer perspective. I would like a little bit more focus now on the defense. I think we've done a nice job offensively, but I think there's still some holes on the defensive side that we probably need to plug. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think particularly at linebacker.
Yeah.
Because I mean we lose Sean Brown and Caden Fordham to graduation. That's a
Well, you
pretty
lost Kenny Soares too. He just signed with Michigan State today.
yeah, but yeah, that's a pretty steep hill to climb.
Yeah. You're only bringing Richardson back really with any significant playing time, and he was injured for a portion of the season. So your depth there and your talent, I believe, is it definitely needs to be replenished.
Yeah, yeah. The secondary. I mean, most of them were young guys. You can develop them, but would like to see some us to get some juice on that side as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find this list here. Give me a second. All right, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about. Let's see. Yeah, for me, I'm excited about Chance Robinson. You kind of mentioned him earlier from Miami. Him and
Yeah,
Victor Snow, nice job there. We've kind of rebuilt the wide receiver room. There's the one kid. I'm not seeing him on this. Oh, there he is. Tyron Warren from Alcorn State, a speed guy.
yeah,
Victor Snow, for lack of a better, to kind of put it, a potential replacement 1 year after the fact for KC. Mainly a slot guy that can get vertical pretty quickly. Again, done a nice job bringing in linemen on the offensive side of the ball. The guy McCrimmon from ECU. We got one guy that's kind of come in the tight end room. That's another area that I would probably like for us to kind of continue to rebuild.
yeah.
You've
Because
lost.
you lose Jolie and Daniels.
Well, and Hardy.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a waiver process that they put in for Daniels, for Dante Daniels. Haven't heard what the status is of that. So I don't know if no news is good news. I would imagine if something were ruled on that one, we would see one way or the other. But yeah, if
secondary looks it looks good. We brought in some good guys. You just wonder, how it's all going to mesh with, the current one because last year secondary was a big weakness on the team.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you had going back to the linebacker that you were talking about. like we had 2 go in the portal, couple of 3-star guys, again, and then lost 3 others. So that's 5 people that you potentially have to replace. And I'm not seeing that we've brought in, just going through my list here. Yeah, I don't see any linebackers yet for here from the portal.
Yeah.
So that would be something that I would probably want to get addressed. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're working on that.
I would think linebacker you probably want as your top priority.
Yeah, I mean, you lost 1, 2, 3 to the portal, and then you had 4 to the portal, and then 2 graduate out. That's 6.
Yeah.
Again, high school math is not my strong suit, but I haven't seen any others come in. But yeah, again, I think we've done a really nice job offensively. I don't know how much more you need to bring in, like I said, other than probably tight end. Would love to see another D lineman come in to compete. You brought in you brought in a safety, a couple corners. Yeah, I think you're getting there because you have brought in 2 corners and a safety, 3 offensive linemen, a running back, edge. Probably, I would love another edge. I know those don't just grow on trees, but yeah. So just doing basic math, you had 20 transfer out, and you've got 12 coming in so far.
Yeah.
So you're still a net negative of 8.
Yeah.
But again, I think you've gotten some really quality guys to come in. Staff's been working pretty good. I think it's been kind of quiet around, just kind of reading some of the things on the different forums from folks and knowing what I know. Been a little quiet as far as visits the last couple of days. I think there's another group coming in the next 2 to 3 days, so sometime later this week. I think it's the 15th or 16th. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's true. So you should start seeing some more action. Portal closes. Is it tonight? Tomorrow? Like, it closes pretty soon if it hasn't. I think it closes like tomorrow or Thursday.
It closes on the 16th.
On the 16th. Okay, yeah. So I was a little off. So for folks that are tracking that, so the 16th is Friday.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Also, who was the last team to beat NC State in football?
Like
the championship bound Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah. Yeah. We got annihilated. Yeah, we can talk about that here for a second if you want to, because that game is on next Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a quick little preview on that, just like a minute. But yeah, I think again, still work to be done in the portal. But the portal does close on Friday. I think it closes Friday midnight, so technically like Saturday morning. And at that point, folks that have entered the portal are good. They can sign or drop out of the portal and return to their respective team. But once that portal closes, the only thing that can happen at that point is a couple of things. One, grad students can still move around as they see fit, and then if a coaching change were to happen, so if a coach were to leave a program, then the portal would open for those kids only on that team. But kids that are already in the portal can still sign anywhere after that time frame, so they're not locked in or locked out. Yeah, and there's only one portal now. There's no longer a spring portal. So whatever you see happens now, and then that'll be pretty much what you have, unless you sign a kid late. Again, once you're in the portal, you can sign pretty much any time, I think up until the beginning of the season or the new academic year, I believe is how that works. But yeah, if you had I know we've already had Christmas, Carson, but if you had the ability to do a Christmas portal wish list, what would you wish for?
For like positions or?
Yeah, positions.
Oh, definitely.
Like what do you think we still need?
Linebacker. I don't think that can be overstated.
Yeah.
maybe some more depth at defensive line.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think I think those two are priority. Tight end as well
Yep.
because that's a room that you really need to clean up.
Yep.
Receiver, I like what we've done at receiver.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
agree.
I think we've gotten like 3 guys,
3 guys. Yep.
and you lose. I mean, we lost Anderson and Rogers, sort of our big 2.
Right, and you
So
lost Grimes just because he's out of eligibility, so you basically
yeah,
gone 3 for 3, right?
yeah. I mean, it
Actually, you lost
for
4. You lost Boulder.
yeah, but yeah,
Boston or Boulder? Let me see which one it was.
for the returning guys, it's really just Hoffman and
Boston.
Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, with any significant movement or playing time, yeah. Yep, agreed. Yep, Tank, thank you. That's a good one. Good. That's a deep cut reference there, Will Roach's burner. I like that one. Yeah, I think, again, still work to be done. Actually, no, good grief, we lost, Christian Zachary as well, looking at this list. So, yeah, there's still probably room for maybe one more taker. Now you do have Jonathan Paler coming back. Not sure, again, coming off that injury, and then where he's gonna fit in now that you've,
Yeah.
moved things around. Does he kinda become your Nyheim Hines 2.0, if you will, or, do they use him in, like, that kind of role, kind of a Swiss Army knife, like
Either that or like a Jalen Samuels,
Yeah, exactly what
like one of those 2.
Yep, that was exactly the next reference I was gonna kinda make. Just and when we give those references, it's utilizing them in that way, not necessarily the player comp. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would agree with that. Just how, and again, we have different offensive coordinators from those times, so there's different philosophies in the way they attack. But that would make the most sense. But yeah, I think we're kind of good there with the portal. I do like what they've done. I think they've taken this a pretty smart approach. You can definitely see that we've lost some talent, but they're also, without knowing true numbers, it doesn't seem like they're definitely overpaying for folks. Maybe the only one that would maybe feel like that way on the surface is a CJ Bailey type deal, just because of the nature of his position and how much that you see with that. Now, the last thing I want to mention too is you brought in 2 former players of his, high school teammates, in the running back from, um, UNC, Gauss. How do you? Let me see. I'm trying to remember his name. Trying to remember Gauss. Yeah, GAUSE. And then I believe Chance Robinson was also a high school teammate. Let me just. Nope, he's St. Thomas. I always get St. Thomas and, um, yeah, Shamadan. Yeah, so, uh, brought in one Shamadan guy, and then, King Mac and, Devin Gauss is both, Fort Lauderdale guys, but I'm sure they know each other, being down from that area. So I would be willing to bet that good old CJ Bailey is probably assisting in some of these recruiting visits with some of those
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale, Miami type guys. But
He
all
knows
right.
this is his team.
What's that?
He knows this is his team.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really good. And, yeah, well, I'm just looking at if anyone cares, State's ranked number 60 in the portal right now for transfer portal rankings. But again, we'll see what happens. All right. Couple more minutes here.
NFL Pack Pros.
Yeah, it was kind of a mixed bag, right? Uh, who's the one? I think Thuney's the only one that won. Is that right?
Murchison on the
Oh yeah, the
Rams.
Rams. Yeah, and Ingle. Oh, that was almost a bad. Ingle almost cost the Rams on Saturday. He missed that block on that punt, on
Yeah.
the punt block. And then they had one other guy, I think, don't they?
McMahon is a reserve center.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then Patriots,
Oh yeah,
Corey Durden and Garrett Bradbury.
Yeah, yeah. So
And then
yeah,
and then you got Thuney on the Bears.
yeah,
And then the Seahawks are the 1 seed, so they got to buy Cedric Thomas.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Peyton and the Steelers lost last night.
Peyton
He
had a
did have a good
good
play.
Peyton had a good play. Peyton played good.
Yeah.
He just unfortunately for the Steelers, he can't play offense as well.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah, so mixed bag. And then Jacoby kind of had that Jacoby Myers kind of had that tip at the end. Really tough play that he kind of tipped the ball up and kind of got intercepted. I don't know if they had enough time anyway to get down the field, but it definitely sealed their fate for the Jaguars.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Kind of wrap the show a little bit here. I know Benjamin was like talk some baseball, so we'll talk a minute or two about baseball, and then we'll wrap. Yeah, I kind of put a tweet out earlier today, and we're exactly 30 days away from Pac-9 baseball returning. Won't be returning to the Doak to begin. They'll start their season down in Puerto Rico, playing 3 games down there in 2 different locations.
That's such a good way to start the season in February.
Well, yeah, I went last year to Jacksonville for that opening series, and I thought, man, Florida in February, vice up here in Northern Virginia, it was actually a degree colder in Jacksonville on the first game than it was here in Northern Virginia. So it was a little chilly, but I expected to be much warmer down in Jacksonville. I'm sorry, much warmer down in Puerto Rico than it was Jacksonville. And my wife and I will be flying down on the 11th and seeing what Puerto Rico has to offer for a couple of days before we get started with the season. But the boys got started back yesterday in the preparation for the season, so it should be pretty exciting. I know I'm working on a couple of things to do. We'll do a live stream here probably in another week or so. I just need to firm up our guests for it, and we'll do like a little baseball roundtable where we'll have just a whole episode dedicated to baseball. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, just some generic. I'm definitely excited about the season. It's going to be interesting. I had some talks with some folks over the weekend that this team is going to be definitely a work in progress, as they all are at this point with the portal the way it is. You're starting to see it with the men's basketball team a little bit. You're starting to kind of figure some things out, and it's taken the better part of a month and a half or so to get them righted. And baseball, I think, is going to be kind of the same. Talking with some folks over the weekend, there's still a lot to be worked out. Really, the big thing, and we'll talk more about this when we do our baseball preview, is who's going to be that third starter for the weekend. It would seem that both Ryan Marone and Jacob Duden are your locked-in guys for the weekend now. Don't know which one will be the Friday, Saturday, or Sunday guy, but they seem to be locked in, which is, as they should. But then, how does the position players look?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we know guys like Ty Head, Friesman, and Chris McHugh are going to be good, but how about the replacements for the seniors?
Right, the transfers, right? The guys that transferred in, and there's some really good young pitchers. You have Luke Hemrick, who I think is going to be see some significant time. You've got guys that are returning like Cooper Consiglio, who had a really nice summer at the Cape and looked pretty good in a couple fall ball exhibitions, and then you've got some guys coming back from injury. And so how do they all work in? What is where does Nance fit into this? Is he going to be plugged in as a starter? Or is he going to be on your back end closing?
Consiglio.
Right. Yeah. Just talked about Consiglio. You got Paisan, who's kind of still like worked his way back from injury. So really at this point with them just kind of back, just kind of working through like where's people got to slot in the order, like what is your position players going to look like? We just brought in a couple guys after when did your new semester, like I know you guys just went back to school this week, right? but
Yeah, we
like when did
started
it?
classes yesterday.
Yeah, but when did it officially like start as far as like the semester date? Like when does it technically start? Because I know it was like a couple of weeks ago, from what I understand, right? Like a week or like around the first.
Yeah, I think January 1st is like when the university has like that transition
Yeah. So
day.
where I'm going with that is we just brought in Christian Serrano, which was Eli's younger brother.
Yeah,
He's now on the roster. And then I think there's a guy, Reed. If you go to gopack.com, look at the baseball, look at the roster, it's the two dudes with no picture. So
yeah.
with Christian Serrano. And so where do those guys slide? Do they slide in? Serrano.
Or do you just develop them?
Right. Do they redshirt? Now I know Serrano reclassified, and he's one of those P5 academy guys. Which, for those that don't know, it's kind of like a gap year, where it kind of counts as a baseball does it weird. Like if you commit to baseball, you have to be a certain age, certain years removed. But that year counts. So then technically you only have to be in college for 2 years. Because once you go to college, you have to be in for three
Yeah.
or an age, if you age out. So like, does he fit into the things? You've got some positional players from the transfer portal, like Mikey Ryan. You have Dalton Bargo. You have I forgot Pfeiffer's first name, but you have Pfeiffer, and you have Sherman Johnson. Like, where do those guys plug in? You have Andrew Wiggins, which was a big guy that we brought in from Indiana. So where I'm kind of going is like they'll work some of these things out. They'll have a plan going into the first weekend, first two first 2 weekends, and then probably like the first 3 weeks where they'll work some guys in and out, see if they sink or swim, and then you'll start to see kind of things play out and roles defined. But what's your kind of your level of expectation here, Carson? Like what based on what you know and what you've seen and kind of the what we saw in fall ball. Kind of give me your thoughts. Like what do you give me a ceiling and give me a floor?
Yeah, I think, obviously it's an Elliott Avon coach team, so ceiling definitely a ACC championship contender,
Yeah.
right?
I like how you said contender, right? Because he hasn't won one, and I would love
Yeah,
for him to win one.
yeah. Um, Floor, I mean, I've seen our schedule as well. I mean,
It's
it's not
favorable.
it yeah, it's favorable. I would say lowest of the low, probably like 500 in the ACC.
Yeah, if you get 500, you're gonna make the tournament. So that's pretty much the floor, right? I think the floor is making the NCAA tournament. And I think, you know,
Yeah,
there's no reason that an LEA event slash NC State baseball team that should always be the floor.
yeah.
You should be able to compete year in year out for an NCAA spot. Now I will say, and we'll definitely talk about the schedule a little bit more in depth when we do our preview here, and like I said, in a week or so. I think again, I haven't done a lot of research on our out of conference team opponents. Like I know we have Coastal, and we only have one against them, and we have two against ECU. I think Campbell's in there. I don't know how good Campbell's going to be, but they have a history. My biggest concern is our out of conference weekend series opponents. Um,
Yeah, you gotta beat Princeton in Sacred Heart.
right. Like I don't know like how good Princeton baseball is. Like that's an opponent that we don't typically play. Like we definitely are playing some teams that we normally haven't had series with. So that kind
We
of
start
concerns me.
we start the season against Washington.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're a Big Ten team, but historically they're okay. Like honestly, if you're gonna play one of those teams up in the Northwest, I'd probably definitely want to play Oregon. They just have a little bit more of a history. Um, Now you do play Indiana State, who's had a nice little run over the last couple of years. Like they play an okay, and then Seton Hall is I if I just had to guess, I don't think they're very good at baseball. But um, yeah, so that should be a series where you go down and handle business, and again, they're good opponents to work through some stuff. Kind of figure out you know what you have. Plug in guys for certain roles, and so I expect the team to get off to a pretty good start. I honestly, let me just look real quick. This is a team that should probably win 8 or 9 of their first, like, 12 games. Like, honestly, just kinda looking at the schedule, they should handle business. But with that being said, we do have a history of kinda starting out slow and getting hot probably about mid to 3/4 of the way into the season.
Yeah.
But again, without doing a full deep dive on our opponents, our goal should be contending for the ACC, regional host, and then figure out where the chips fall after that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Shout out to Luke Hemrick as well.
Yeah. No.
Apex Friendship guy.
Oh, is that where you went?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I think he's gonna be a real he's gonna be like after you, we're gonna lose Marone and Duden after this year. They're gonna obviously go pro, and we're gonna lose Ty Head after this season as well. Again, he's one of those guys that I was kind of talking about where he's only a sophomore, but he's draft eligible. Luke Hemrick is the future. Like he's going to be the next big arm. I have no doubt about it. You saw some of the glimpses in the fall, and I think he's going to be one of those dudes that I think will potentially fight for a midweek starting position. So I'm really excited about what he has. Again, he's a freshman, so don't want to put the expectations too high, but it would not shock me if he ends up being a midweek starter when it's all said and done. But again, we'll have a much deeper preview. I'm just kind of starting to dig into some of the numbers and some of the analytics on some of these guys. I think there's a lot to be excited for the Pac-9 this season. I think this was kind of the year that we had circled for us to really make a run to Omaha with this group of arms, like the Maroons and Dudens, like I was just talking about. Kind of got there, in their freshman year, didn't quite make it back last year. But I think this is the year where I think we can definitely make some noise. And we'll talk about the ACC as a whole. You're starting to see some of the preseason rankings come out. Let's talk about that real quick. Perfect Game, which I don't dislike it, but it's not my number one go-to. They had State number 22 in the country in their preseason ranking, and then D1 came out yesterday and had State at 17. And we'll talk about it when we get to the breakout and start talking about other ACC teams. There was a real discrepancy between the two publications and the way they had teams ranked. One had Virginia like at 17 in the country or something, 11 in the country, I think it was. And the other one didn't even have them ranked. And then one had Georgia Tech at 2, and then I think the other one they had them like at 5 or 6. And so it was all over the place. But I think the ACC will again be competitive as they always are. But yeah, I'm excited. We get started in 30 days down in Puerto Rico. We'll be playing in Ponce for the first 2 games. And then, so game 1 will be against Washington. Game 2 will be against Indiana State. And then game 3 will be on Sunday. I believe how you say it is Corgus. I'll get my pronunciation right. So they're actually playing at 2 different sites, and that game will be Sunday. They've updated the times on the Go Pack website. Apparently, which I found out, is Puerto Rico is an hour ahead of us in the winter months. So I know that makes you tired. But yeah. So Carson, I will give you the floor. I just ranted there for probably a good minute or two. Kind of give me your final thoughts on the week that was, the week that will be. What are you looking for from NC State teams to get done this week? Again, light schedule for the men, only 1 game, and then the women have 2 big one, or the one against Wake and the big one on Sunday. So kind of give me your parting thoughts.
Yeah. So I'm here looking at the all-time series between NC State and Louisville in women's basketball.
They're always tough.
Do you know how many straight games NC State has won against Louisville?
Is the streak still current?
6 straight wins.
No, is that current? That was what I was asking.
Yeah.
Is that a current streak? Okay, I was going to say 5. So
yeah, it's 6 going.
6.
Yeah. going back to COVID.
Yeah.
And
well, I remember that. Go ahead. Yeah, that really big comeback.
The all-time series is at 9-8, NC State.
Yeah, it's not as a long series, with Louisville only having been in the conference for a short amount of time. Yeah, no, again, big game, right? That's kind of our game of the week, if you will, from an outside looking in. That's the one that a lot of state fans should have circled, and kind of tune in. I think that's a nationally televised game, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's one of those.
Yeah, well, it's at 1 p.m., so it's before the playoff games.
Yeah, what I meant was like one of like the premier games for college women's. Like it's like one of those. Let me just see.
It's State Louisville has always been that for the past 5 years or so, though.
Oh, it's on ESPN too.
It's on ESPN too. So
yeah, that's what I was saying. By nationally televised, it's not on the ACC network. So we'll get some good eyeballs. Matchup predictor puts it at 57.5% for Louisville, but yeah, I expect a full house. I think a raucous crowd will be in order. One of my more recent fondest memories at Reynolds was that comeback in was technically the 21 season, but it was in early 22 when we beat them.
Yeah, I still do not understand that game.
Yeah, we were down 21, 22 points, some ridiculous number.
We were down 14 to start the fourth.
Is it 14?
And then we won by like 9.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It was like a 22-point swing. Yeah, it was fun. So hopefully we have some excitingness with that game coming up. All right. Well, yeah, my final thoughts are I will be down in Raleigh again. I took a week off, enjoyed some needed rest. I've been kind of battling a cold, and I'm kind of surprised that I was able to get through this as well as I did. My voice is a little bit raspy, and I'm starting to feel it. So I think this is a great time to wrap the week. But yeah, I'll be down for Georgia Tech on Saturday and Louisville on Sunday. Hoping to go 2-0. For me personally, I know I won't be at Wake on Thursday for the women, but we'll definitely be tuning in. All right, Wolfpack Nation, we always greatly appreciate you tuning in, especially if sometimes we have to do these not on our standard night, and we apologize for that. Like I said, I wasn't up to it yesterday, and we wanted to at least get something out for you guys. You guys are always tuning in, and we greatly appreciate your loyalty. For those that are listening in on all of the wonderful different platforms, whether it's Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you go, iHeart, just go out and give us a nice review if you don't mind, and kind of share this out. We appreciate it. We do it for the love of you guys, and appreciate you giving us a platform to kind of just come on and talk. And we're just a bunch of fans that love to share our thoughts, and we're definitely by no means experts, but we definitely watch all the games, and we appreciate you listening. So if you could give us a great review, we would appreciate it. We'll have to see about next week as far as a Monday stream. I know we have the national championship game, so we may push to Tuesday because, again, we're all fans of sports, not just NC State. And I know I myself would love to watch that, and I'm sure Carson too. So be on the lookout. Just check social media, and we'll keep you updated. But again, Wolfpack Nation, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, follow us on social media. If you ever have ideas for things that you want to talk about, we're always open to listen. And next week we will catch you. So as always, Wolfpack Nation, thanks. Love you. Appreciate you. Peace out.